Welcome back. I'm here with Michael Jordan, a legend in the Amazon space. Has been in the space for over a decade now. Someone that you've probably seen or heard of, but you don't see all the time on social media. I've heard from him that that's going to change. I wanted to get him on to talk about his journey in the Amazon space, in the e-com space, and agency as well. A person, in my opinion, that's incredibly knowledgeable and has a lot of experience in the space. So great to have you, Michael.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Ian. Happy to be here.
Amazing, amazing. Perfect. I want to start you off the bat with you've been in the Amazon space for what, over 10 years?
Yeah, over 10 years, man. I actually started selling on Amazon in middle school, like eighth grade
Wow.
when, yeah, I was selling books and knockoff DVDs actually back in like eighth grade when I had no idea
Wow.
about anything. So, and
Things have
then,
changed, huh?
yeah, things have changed a lot. Obviously, that didn't last too long. Realized that was not legal to sell knockoff DVDs, so then I moved into more legitimate things, and I've sold on Etsy. I've done multiple seven figures on Etsy, on
Wow.
eBay, drop shipping, print on demand. I've had brands and stores in all of those platforms and niches, and Amazon was like the one that just clicked with me the best. I think because you have to be so detail oriented and just attention to detail and stuff. So Amazon seemed to click the best, and yeah, I went like professional back in 2018, 2019.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah, now we say like, man, I wish it was 2018, 2019, 2020. And then when I started, I was like, I wish it was
It's always
2015.
that way, right? It's
Yeah,
always that. And now brands, and probably in 5 years, will be like, I wish it was 2025. It's always
exactly.
that way. From my experience, I think Amazon is, I mean, it's interesting, fees and all of that sort, but from a sales volume, it's never been higher. Like I remember when I was selling in 2020 and it was the pandemic and they were like, oh, it's never going to get better. Yet sales are getting stronger. Now, a lot of the cowboys are struggling more. Like it's going to be difficult for you to put a brand under generic and do extremely well. But serious brands are doing extremely well, at least in my experience. What do you experience on your side?
Yeah, that's the exact kind of like roadmap that I've seen over the last 10 years. It's used to you could, it was private label, sling shit online on Amazon and you can make really good money. And then it kind of like turned to like, all right, you got to like create a brand if you want a private label. But you could still do, gray hat, black hat, like manipulate rank really easily and cheaply. And then within the last like 3, 4, 5 years, it's really turned to, especially in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
it's really turned to like big brands who are omnipresent, running meta ads, running TikTok, running Google, utilizing Amazon as their, third or fourth serious sales channel. So we've seen like from whenever I started the agency, even brands didn't take Amazon serious. And now it's like brands come to us and they're like, we're 2 years behind the curve. Like, can you help us?
I agree. I'm saying the same thing because Amazon, they're like, oh, if we go to Amazon, we're going to cheapen our brand. It's not our website. We don't own the customers. But I'm like, well, not really because I mean, people are going on Amazon regardless if your brand is there. They're probably searching your brand as well. Now with TikTok and all the other platforms, they're searching for either your brand or something similar to your product and brand. So if you're not there, someone else is going to eat your lunch. And Amazon is too big to ignore. It's like 50% of e-com. So you can be
Yeah.
there, you cannot be there, but you kind of have to be there. And I also what I find some of the brands we work with, they're going to retail, and retailers are starting to look a lot more on Amazon. That if they see on Amazon your rank is 20th in the subcategory, they already can see some volume. They see 500 plus sold in the last month. They're like, okay, so someone is buying it on Amazon. It will probably work for retail as well. So already they have the data instead of you trying to launch it cold. Similar with TikTok Shop as well, but Amazon is
Hmm.
very very established.
Yeah, Amazon's more like, I mean, it's so much older than TikTok. So retailers do go to it. Or like if you go to Whole Foods and you have a meeting with a Whole Foods buyer, for example, they're looking at your reviews on Amazon. They're looking at your presence on Amazon. And that's actually how they find a lot of these up and coming brands. They're looking at Amazon, they're looking at TikTok Shop, and then they're scheduling meetings with these brands to get them in retail, Whole Foods, Walgreens, like wherever.
It makes a lot of sense. Let's say I have 50 grand, right? And tomorrow I want to start a brand. What would you suggest for me to do? But I want to start it on Amazon, right? I don't want to play with TikTok yet. I just want to do
Mhm.
Amazon. What would you suggest?
Yeah, so the roadmap that I see working the best and most consistently now is launch on Amazon, get traction, get cash flow, and then very shortly after, start putting content out for top of brand awareness on TikTok. It's not TikTok shop, it's just brand awareness, and all of that traffic will spill over to Amazon. Then eventually you can get into actual launching a TikTok shop, launching meta ads, but like TikTok as top of funnel awareness, spilling over to Amazon works really well right now. I've had several students. One of them hit 800K a month, and he's been launched for about like 15 months now,
That's crazy.
selling supplements with that exact framework. So I would say that's kind of like the framework as far as platforms go. As far as products, look for something that like supply chain's huge now. It's always been
Oh yeah.
huge, but even more so with all the global issues going on. You have to make sure that you can consistently get product and get it on time and get it fast. So maybe if you have to pay like 25 cents more, a dollar more a unit to get it made in the US or Mexico, it's worth it versus going to China now with the tariffs and all the fees and the shipping delays and all of that stuff. So that's something to think about. And then I always teach people like product wise, it's got to have a recurring nature or like subscribe and save nature to it. And that's just like, if you want to be profitable and scale and exit eventually for big numbers, like it has to have subscribe and save and subscriptions.
That's a great point. I agree. I love products that have great LTV because CAC will always go up. We know that cost of acquisition
Yeah.
will always go up. But if your LTV is high enough, I mean, you don't even care about CAC as much because they stay forever. That's the
Yeah.
difficult part, right? Get a product that's good enough that people want to buy and buy and buy. I also like products that are everyday products, and I'll put supplements now there as well because supplements are almost becoming an essential now. People who are on the supplement stack, for them, is like water or food. I don't mind expensive product, right? But I'm almost on the sense that a 5,000 pound product or a $1,000 product, it's more difficult logistically, damages, A to Z claims. There's like so many headaches that come compared to a $30, $40 supplement or whatever you're using. I think it's much easier to, even for investors and people when you want to exit, because a lot of the money in e-com is made from exiting. Now, you can make good cash flow, don't get me wrong, you know this very well, but a lot of the real money is made in exits when it comes to e-com. And if you want to build an exit, you need to think about these things kind of from the start. What is the biggest exit you've seen in the space? I'm curious because you've been in a long time, like something that you've been close to.
Something that I've been close to, gosh, around 45 to 50 mil on a
Wow,
supplement brand. Yeah, and it took them about 6 years to scale. And TikTok Shop wasn't even a thing whenever they first started the brand. And then this brand figured out TikTok Shop really well, crushed it. I was managing their Amazon account, scaled them to like 2 mil a month just on Amazon. And then they exited to private equity for like 45 to 50 mil.
was that Amazon and TikTok only, or did they have the D2C Shopify play as well?
They, yeah, they layered in DTC, Shopify, and Meta ads last. So it was Amazon only, then TikTok, and then any like winning creative or video that was going viral on
Smart.
TikTok, they would run Meta ads too. And it ended up doing really well.
That's smart. I also love the point you made that you don't even need to open TikTok shop. It's more actually creating a TikTok profile where you're running content and just trying to get awareness. Because that's what I'm seeing as well. Many people think, oh, you need to set up the TikTok shop. You actually need to sell on TikTok. No, you don't. If you have people doing great videos and you're going viral on TikTok or getting awareness, a lot of that traffic will spill over to Amazon. And then your tacos is just beautiful. You're like your organic sales are
Yeah.
just on fire. And Amazon actually wants external traffic. The more external traffic you feed it, they love that because they're
Yeah.
getting the sale at the end of the day.
Here's a real world case study for you. My girlfriend had like girls' night a few months ago, and I hear them all sitting around talking. And we just moved in a house, and we've been like furnishing it and stuff. So they're all like, "Oh my gosh, I saw this on TikTok, and like I think it would be beautiful here. Like you should go get it." Where do I get it? Oh, just go on Amazon and search this,
Yeah,
right? Even though they saw it on TikTok or they saw an Instagram ad, they still go to Amazon to buy it. Some people just don't trust TikTok Shop, or it's just like natural instinct to go to Amazon because customer service, there's a ton of reviews there. It gets there same day or next day. So it's just like Amazon is critical now.
yeah. And some people don't even trust websites. That's the
Yeah,
other thing.
exactly.
And if you have the Prime membership, like some people don't want to even wait for 2 days delivery. I mean, it's a whole thing. That's how they've built a beast of. So for buyers, they're number one. For customers, they're number one. For sellers, maybe they're not number one of how they treat them. But when it comes to
Hmm.
customers, they're just amazing of how they treat them. If anything happens, they'll refund you, no question asked. If you want to return it, even if you can return it, they'll give you your money back. So people have a level of trust that's just incredible. And I think as a brand owner in 2026, you need to be less emotional of, oh, Amazon is this or TikTok Shop is this. You need to be where the attention is. And if Amazon is where customers are, that's where you need to be, regardless of you don't own your customer. Because even if you have a Shopify website, if you're not running ads, you don't really own your customer because he's not coming back. Like the subscribe and save, anyone that's running Shopify, I'm sure they know. The subscribe and save for Shopify, if you stop running ads, the churn on that subscribe and save increases because you always need new people. So it's a pay to play game to a certain extent for all these platforms. So you want to be
Yeah.
where people are, where customers are shopping. If not, you're going to be losing a lot of sales. Now, I've seen brands doing extremely well on website, just do well on website and go nowhere else. But also from an exit standpoint, where I've seen is private equity loves for you to be on Amazon, on TikTok, and your own website. Like they love that. Now, don't get me wrong, you can exit if you're doing Amazon only. You know that. It probably is going to be a 2-3x multiple. But if you're all the platforms and you're killing it, the multiples are a lot better, at least in my experience.
Yeah, for sure. It reduces risk. It spreads risk, right? Your Amazon listing could go down, your account could get suspended for like any number of reasons. But if you're pumping numbers on TikTok Shop, you're doing numbers on DTC, and you figured out like somewhat of your meta ads funnel, like that's, I mean, you could get like 2, 3, 4x times on your multiple. Don't do all three at once.
Oh
Like
yeah,
start on one,
yeah.
become really good at it, and then either hire or move to the next one after you replace yourself on the one that you start with. I've seen people like come to me and they hire me for consulting and coaching. They're like, all right, I'm on TikTok, I'm running meta ads, I'm doing Amazon. And I'm like, all right, like I focus only on Amazon for a reason. Like I'm good enough through experience and over a decade and stuff to run meta ads and TikTok and all that. But like, there's no way that one single person can be good and successful on all three at the exact same time.
And at the high level, I agree. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what any bigger brand that you see, they either have an in-house team or they have agencies for each
Yeah.
platform because they're just too important. And as you said, being the best at them at all three, it's very difficult because they're just changing all the time. Amazon 3 years ago was different than now. What was working 3 years ago doesn't exactly work now. Now the fundamentals are pretty much the same, but the way advertising work now, the type of campaigns that work now, you know very well. Broad and automatic works a lot better than it did 2 years ago, where exact was the thing. So all of these things are shifting, and unless you're in the trenches, you won't know. On the agency side, you said you guys are focusing only on Amazon. How long has the agency been around?
Yeah, so bad marketing as a is today, we have services for every single paid
Yeah.
platform, email, Google, Meta, Amazon, Walmart, TikTok. But my division of my focus is on Amazon and Walmart. I started an Amazon agency back in like 2021, just from kind of like necessity. I was running my own private label brands, going to conferences and masterminds and meetups, and people were like, "Dude, you're crushing it. Will you like help me with my brand?" You know, for a while I did it for free until I'm like, "All right, I have to charge for this." So I never set out to like get into the agency space, or I didn't even know what an agency was when I was like 2018, 2019, when I was private labeling brands. So the agency formed around then, and then in 2022, me and my current partner at Bad came together. He had the DTC side, I had the Amazon and Walmart side, and we
Yeah.
formed Bad Marketing and have been running ever since.
That's cool. That's very cool. And how many brands are you guys kind of working with on the Amazon side right now?
On the Amazon side, we have around 60 brands right now. Yeah, active. Over the last 4 years, we've had a couple hundred
Wow.
brands. Yeah, a lot of those, we had a few big ones that we scaled. They took it in-house and exited to private equity over the last 2 years as that space has heated back up.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. This is what I call structural churn, right? It's not churn because of
Yeah.
bad service. It's churn because a lot of the bigger brands, they kind of get the gameplay of an agency, and then as you scale it, they're like, you know what, we're gonna take it in house because it looks better on paper
Yeah.
when a private equity company comes. So you did great. Maybe on the next one we'll work with you together. That's a very
Yeah,
interesting
and
point.
like that makes me happy. Like that's good
Of course.
churn, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you did so well for a brand, like one brand we took from 80K a month to 2.5 million a month over
Wow.
like 2.5 years. And that was just on Amazon. They were doing similar numbers DTC and TikTok Shop. You can always tell a CMO comes on, a COO comes on. They start adding more people in the Slack channel. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I know what's about to happen. And most of them have, you have a really good relationship with, and they tell you like, hey, we're trying to exit within a year, and it's like, cool, let's implement a plan, add all your people in here, and we'll help offboard so you can take it in house and continue to be successful.
And also, there's so many brands out there as well. This is what I tell agencies. Not if you lose one, they're like 20. There's another 20 you can get as well. There's brands getting started all the time. There a lot of brands don't want to even exit. They're just I want to run this forever. Cash flow is good because you know yourself. You cross a certain line when it comes to ecom, Amazon, or whichever platform is. Cash flow starts becoming interesting as well. You
Hmm.
have good relationships. Your suppliers are maybe giving you net 30 or net 60. So actually cash flow is not a big of an issue and you're just scaling it. For these brands, are you guys doing like full management, like design, A plus content, PPC, or are you just focusing more on the advertising part?
Yeah, it's full management. We used to
Yeah.
do like PPC only. Very rarely will we take a client that's not just full management now, because if somebody comes to us, they usually
Yeah.
churn from another agency and we audit their ad account. And I'm like, well, it's not really your ads that, like, yeah, we'll improve them, but it's not really your ads. It's like this and this and this and like, and your back end and your listing and your deal strategy and your Prime Day strategy. And it's like all of that stuff. If that's bad or done poorly or not done at all, like your ads are just going to magnify that. So they magnify the good or the bad of your listing and your business as a whole. So yeah, we do full management. I've got almost 40 people on the Amazon team who are
Wow.
just Amazon specialists. And so that ranges from like catalog and compliance specialists, because that's been over the last 2 years, there's so many
Oh
hijackers,
yeah.
knockoffs, counterfeit
Yeah.
sellers attacking these brands. So I had to build out a full catalog and compliance team to just address that. And then we've got graphic designers, PPC specialists, SEO specialists, account managers, strategists, the full deal to manage an account.
But that's why it's so difficult to do it in-house. That's why a lot of
Yep.
brands are struggling to do it in-house because it's not just one person. If you're a brand that's doing 10 million a year and you have just one PPC person doing the management, doing the strategy, then doing design, doing SEO, it's literally impossible for him to know all of these at a high level. When you get an agency, that's if it's a good agency, of course, that's one of the benefits. You guys have everything in-house and you have like 60 accounts you're training with. I always say this to brands that we want to work with or that we talk with. An agency, a good agency will always be better than you in advertising and listing and design and SEO because they will have 20, 30, 60 brands they're working with. So much data that just with one brand, you can't get that amount of data. If you have one brand, however much revenue it's doing, it's just one brand, one category, where you have 60 different brands, 60 different categories, different data, different ASINs. So the amount of data you guys have and experience is like 60 times more than a normal brand. And that's just in a year, let alone when you compound it in 3 and 4 years.
It's like the days of like ninja hacks and all that stuff in the like 2000 or like 2020 era and
Yeah.
before is like that's not the edge on Amazon now. Like yes, you have to know all the basic stuff, but like anybody can, find that info with Claude or ChatGPT or YouTube now. Executing it's a totally different story, but
That's a great point.
yeah, you have to have like all of those specialties, and it just comes down to data, like you said. It's like if I have over the last 4 years 250 brands that I've worked with, and I've seen what's gone well, what's gone wrong, what goes okay, what works every time, what works sometime across every niche and 250 brands, like of course I'm going to be better than you who has one data point, which
Yeah.
is your brand. Right. So
And,
it's
and that's
it's
not even
just
your main
as simple as
focus.
that. Yeah.
And And if you're and I always say this, if you're a brand owner, your focus should be product and having the best product you possibly can that fits the best, like fits your customer needs the best. For me, the brands that I think struggle are brands that come from someone who's great at marketing, maybe, right? But doesn't have the
Hmm.
ups down, doesn't understand that having a good product is actually a big edge. Because as you said,
Yeah,
a lot of it you can learn on Claude, but you can really, because first, Claude is, however great Claude or ChatGPT are, they're very prone to what you ask them. So if you ask them in a certain way, they will agree with you, and they're not very disagreeable. So a lot of the data is not even real. Where when you work with 250 brands, the gut feeling data you have and the experience you have is very different. And as you said, knowing it is one thing, doing it and executing it volume wise is very difficult. Good luck executing it with over 30 listings for one brand and executing it fast. It's very, very difficult. And
exactly.
even catalog, as you said, catalog and compliance has been a different department. Like 2 3 years ago it was an issue, but now you have to have a department just for that, especially when you start working at scale. We're experiencing the same thing as well, and we're getting more and more specialists in that because it's becoming a big thing. And if you don't have a department that's good at that, you can lose a listing, you can lose an account, you're losing so many sales. And for most brands, e-com brands that are on Amazon, even if DTC is 60% of their sales, Amazon is usually 40% of sales. So half of the
Hmm.
sales overnight disappears, which is a lot.
Yeah, we've had brands, a listing goes down from a competitor attack and they're losing 20K a day. And it's like they'll pay any amount of money to get back up as fast as possible. I mean, I get people every week who like big brands who are running hard on TikTok and DTC who can't even open their Amazon account because they can't figure out like what documents to provide and stuff. So like the compliance aspect as far as like defense against counterfeiters and knockoffs is huge now. I would say, man, like a solo founder with like a decent just task oriented VA, like you can get to 1 million, 1.5 million a year, but like beyond that, you're just going to top out and you're not going to grow because your focus shouldn't be like running the Amazon PPC or trying to get the worrying about if the listing's up. Like you should be worried about product, developing more product, and getting your name out there.
Great,
And
great
like
point.
an agency is a great, effective way to take that workload off your plate for whatever platform.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think a million to 2 million, it's you can run it solo, but after that it becomes very difficult because, as you said, the bigger you get, first when you start making a lot more sales, competitors will start looking at you a bit differently, and you start getting a lot of different attacks that you would never expect because you never were a problem. But as soon as you start stealing market share from there, them dominating some keywords that you shouldn't be dominating, they're like, oh,
Mhm.
we have someone there. And if you're a team of one, yes, you probably can deal with it, but your business will go down because you'll be only managing Amazon. You won't be managing your brand, which is where the money is. From an exit standpoint, and even going to another platform, as you said, if you start three platforms at the same time, unless you're a heavily backed financially, you have three different world-class agencies helping you, you're just not going to do it well. There's so many different parts. TikTok is massively different from Amazon. TikTok, as you know very well, doesn't capture demand, it creates it. And the crazy volume of content you need to do is just another level. Amazon is completely different. And knowing those intricacies and just having 200 affiliates doing 100 videos a day, it's going to be very difficult to operate.
Yeah, even if you do have three really good agencies, or even like some people will hire us for all three platforms, and we rarely let them do that at the same time unless they're already like $5 or $10 million established brand because you simply like you just don't have enough time and bandwidth and attention to dedicate and be successful on all three all at the same time. So we'll like onboard somebody for Amazon. 3 months later, we'll onboard them for TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
3 months later, we'll onboard them for email SMS, just so it's
Yeah.
like much more guaranteed like chance of success versus trying to do all three at once. And then you got a family, you got kids, and you're traveling to conferences, and
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
not possible.
Yeah.
So
What is the role now for you in the agency? Is it operations? Is it marketing? What are you doing day to day?
I do mostly ops and sales and call it biz dev admin stuff. So, but a big part of my day is dedicated to like sales and just building the brand name. Whatever, time that I do spend like actually in the business is like leadership building. So I have a pretty good management layer now of account managers, managers of those managers, and then managers of all the specialty roles, right? Managers for graphic design, PPC, SEO, catalog. And my job is really building those people into actual leaders. A lot of them rose through the ranks over the last few
Of
years, so
course.
they don't have like official, it's not like they came from a $50 million, $100 million agency and they have this management experience. A lot of my time is sales and leadership and management training and making sure my people have the right tools that they need to get the job done.
And also, what makes a lot of sense is because we find the same good luck trying to get someone from another agency and train them. Because a lot of the
Yeah.
times, in my experience, most agencies are bad. Most Amazon agencies are horrible. I don't know why. I haven't experienced other agencies, so maybe they're the same. But the reason I think they're bad is first, everything is outsourced to the Philippines and India. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, but none of
Hmm.
them are trained properly. They give them maybe an SOP or they give them a manual, this is how you do it, which unfortunately Amazon is such a live system that always changes that nothing goes exactly how you want it to go. And
Yeah.
the funny part is that you work with a brand that's maybe doing 100 million, yet your team are not even getting minimum wage. They're
Right.
not trained. And this is what I always say to the team. I mean, there's people who are spending 1 million a month in ad spend and beyond. A mistake there can cost them 1 million. Like you can lose them so much money. This is real money you're playing with here. It's not like we're playing with play money. So I do believe the team, especially the more you grow, it's so important because you as a founder, you can only do so much. As good as you are on Amazon, you cannot manage 60 accounts, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, it's a it's a tricky situation because like for new agency owners, like yeah, you don't have the cash flow to support like these really high level team members. So like, 5, 6 years ago, we started with a lot of lower level, like 800 to 1.5K per month people on the team. And now I'm paying people like 5, 10K a month. Right. And just as the years have gone by, our clients have gotten bigger. We've gotten bigger. Like I've had to hire and invest in team. It's like chicken or the egg. It's like at some point you have to, your margins compress
Yeah,
because you have to invest in team and then you can get
exactly.
bigger clients. And if you never make that investment, you'll never get bigger clients. I could never land a $50 million a year brand with like low level talent,
Yeah,
right?
you're absolutely right. And also at the beginning, if you have to manage 10 brands by yourself, you do it, right? Like because you do
Right.
it for a purpose to get more margin in, to get better people. But you're right, at a certain point, if you don't have good people, you just cannot scale. And the good thing is when you have good people, these good people know good people, so it's easier to hire. For us, what we've seen is we train pretty much everyone internally because
Mm.
it's difficult to have a lot of Amazon experience. That's what I found out. Because first, it's a pretty new thing. Amazon, from a private label standpoint, it's really been established in the last 10 years. It's not like it's been
Mhm.
around for 30 years, where, for example, Google or SEO or Meta has been a little bit more established throughout the years. If you get someone who's had an agency experience, they don't really have much experience. They maybe worked on a couple of accounts. And also, they usually have bad habits. So training them internally, it's what tends to work well. Also, someone who owns the private label brand tends to do better as well. Not always, but that's what I found training wise.
Dude, that I would agree with that. As far as like if we're talking about like why so many Amazon agencies are bad and don't perform versus the ones that I know who personally do, like I could think of like five off the top of my head of like friends or acquaintances in the Amazon space that I would like recommend. Hey, if you don't go with bad, like you should check these guys out. And the one thing we have in common is we used to be private labelers or we
Yeah,
still have our own brand that we run and we're just like in the game and active still.
yeah,
Yeah, I've launched like 8 or 9 brands, whether by myself or with partners, over like the decade that I've been doing this. I still have one that runs really successfully, and I'm like in the account and like staying sharp and playing around with stuff and testing stuff. So if it works on my account, I'm like, hey team, here's what I just tested in my account. Let's see what accounts in our portfolio we can roll this out to our clients. And I already know it worked. It's not like a guess, right? So I've seen that as a common theme across like agencies, Amazon agencies that actually perform well. The founder or someone in senior leadership like actually sold or still sells at one point.
Yeah, I mean they put their money where their mouth is, and also if you're selling I always say this: if you're selling a service, whatever service you're selling, and you're not active in it, either you don't believe in it, or you're very busy, right? You might have had a brand, and now your agency is scaling like crazy, so that's of course a point. But you being active on Amazon, selling on Amazon says, okay, so you believe in it, you're making money out of it. You're actually the avatar you're selling. It's, when you jump on a call and someone is having the same issues you've had for the last 5 to 10 years, it's so much easier to sell it because you're not selling them. You're just, look, I have the same issues I had as well. This is how I solved it. Here are the results. It's very straightforward and simple. When you've never done it, you kind of have to guess. You kind of have to figure out scripts that maybe work. Where you have the experience, you've done it, you know exactly what's happening now. And also, I'm sure this happens to you when you jump on a sales call, they understand you're good at it. Like many times, I'm sure it happens to you. Like when they talk to you, they're like, "Oh, so you really know your shit," because they hear the
Mm,
way you speak, how you know. Like a lot of these things, if you don't have the experience, it's very difficult to fake them. So it gives them a level of trust. And of course, then when you deliver a good service and you keep them for a long time, then it's much easier. But I agree. I think a
yeah.
lot of sales, which you know very well, is do you have the experience? Are you confident in what you do? If you're confident in what you do, you'll be a better sales guy than 99% of people. That's why founders usually are better sales guy. At least that's
Yeah,
what I've
for sure.
experienced.
And there's a time when like you have to work yourself out of like actually jumping on sales calls and stuff. But for like big brands, I still jump on and enjoy it and talk to them, and they're like, "Cool, you actually know what you're talking about. You aren't just like whatever agency we're coming from." And I also like I think uniquely have because I did have print on demand stores and Shopify stores
Yeah,
that were like fairly successful. I did multiple seven figures, small margins, a lot of credit card points for sure. But like we have that side of the agency now of bad, and I get to see like cool, like these guys are focused on email and SMS. They're looking at LTV and AOV and repeat purchase rate, and like classically, Amazon sellers don't do that.
true.
Amazon's released a lot of data now, and some of these softwares can give you the AOV, repeat purchase rate,
Exactly.
cohort analysis, and stuff. So, like, I took a lot of those tactics and a lot of the like how we scale meta ads, and I took those tactics to Amazon PPC, and they worked, right? So, like, when I speak that lingo to brands who want us to manage their Amazon, they're like, "Oh, cool! Like that makes sense to me." Like you're going to focus on AOV and LTV and
Of
repeat
course, yeah.
purchase rate and all that stuff.
What are you most excited about in the space right now? Because you've been around for some time. What are you most excited about? Like, what do you want to do the most of?
We're in the AI craze right now.
Yeah,
We do utilize AI, but we're not like automating a lot of stuff.
same.
I'm still going like really people and experience heavy. Luckily, we're like at the size that I can afford the more experienced people, and I think that's always going to win
400%.
over AI and some automation right now.
Well,
Now I know guys who have like they're solo founders with like an EA, and they have like somewhat successful Amazon agencies, and it's
yeah,
all AI and like automated, but like they're never going to get to work with the 50 million, $100 million brands.
great point, and I couldn't agree more with you. A perfect example for me is uh, we've probably onboarded 5 brands in the last couple of months that used PPC automation softwares.
Mm,
And of course, when you do the audits, I mean, you'll go to the history tab and you see like these guys are doing like 5 changes every minute, 24/7, one to
mhm.
two pence or cents up and down. And then like, I mean, when we jump on a sales score, like your account is messed up because of that, right? Every PPC automation software that I've seen, it's horrible. Like you would much better do auto campaigns by yourself and see them once a week because there's too many moving parts. Like it's not as
Yeah.
simple as oh my ACOS is 20%, so now I'm going to increase my bid by X. No, but what about your organic sales? What about your ACOS is 60%, but your organic sales are killing it. You're actually more this is the most profitable campaign you have.
Hmm.
Which good luck telling that to software. And also, how long is it going to take you to communicate that to the software? I might as well give it to my guy. He's going to do it in a second. So I agree. And I also think the more we get obsessed with AI, the more the personal part will be very important. That's why you see things like conferences getting bigger and bigger. Like me being able
Yeah.
to jump on a call with someone that actually knows their shit it's becoming more and more valuable. So I'm 100% with you on that point. Now, we do use AI for stuff like reports. Yeah, that's super easy, of course.
Yeah.
Why would I do that manually? But that you cannot mess that up, right? That's literally admin stuff. But for
Hmm.
stuff as important as optimizing bits, even optimizing bits, people I think sleep too much on it. If you optimize it the wrong way, your account will get messed up. The wrong bit will lose you money. The right bit will make you money. I mean, if you're putting 20 cents bits, good luck getting clicks and impressions, right? Same if your average bid is like $10, good luck making money. But I've seen horror stories with automation software, like horror stories, and I have friends using them. I've tried probably most of them just to see if they're good or not. And from my experience now, 2026, they're far from good. Like you might as well do it yourself, even if you don't have experience.
I just audited a brand's PPC account. They had like a 15% ACOS and they thought that they were crushing it. And anytime I see that, I'm like, I know exactly what's happening.
Oh yeah,
It's all branded spend.
brand
Like you guys
search,
are
of
paying
course.
for, yeah, you're paying
Brand
for it
defense,
on
baby.
Meta, on TikTok, and your agency's taking credit for it. So I get
Of
in
course.
there and they're like, no, it's in our competitor. I call it competitor conquesting. So like where you target competitor ASINs. It's all in that. So it's not branded. Dude, they were using some software. It turned like the expansion, category
Yeah,
expansion on a competitor ASIN targeting campaign. So Amazon found similar products. What had
of course.
happened, it found their own listings because they didn't negate it out of those listings. I'm not even kidding you. 100% of their spend was somebody searched their brand name, went to their listing, they were advertising on their listing, and they clicked that, and then they bought. So they thought they were crushing it, and they were just running like essentially brand defense, listing defense campaigns.
And I've seen this so many times because brand defense is the easiest to make your numbers look easy, to make
Right.
your numbers look good, and that's why I always say case studies can be manufactured. Like someone can tell you, I've increased 100% in sales, but they went from $1,000 to $2,000. That's right. That's 100%. That's double. But
Hmm.
case studies are one thing. This with the brand defense trick is very interesting because when I first started seeing it, we were auditing the account. It was funny for me because you could clearly see it's all brand search, which is great. You should have it, but it shouldn't be 100% of your sales. The whole
Yeah.
point to get an agency is for you to dominate the other keywords so you can get actual new to brand customers. You're already paying for a lot of the brand defense anyway.
Yeah,
It's a good point.
exactly. Yeah, even agencies like or brands in general overspending on brand defense. We had a really big client. They were spending 250K a month on brand defense campaigns. And I'm like, I think that's a little much because you guys already dominate search results. If somebody searches even organically for this product without your brand name, we cut that down over 2 months from 250K a month to 100K a month on brand defense
Yeah.
campaigns, and their sales didn't do anything. They didn't drop. So instantly they had 150K to their bottom line profit.
I love this example because you wouldn't be able to understand that and know to do that and have the confidence to like go from 250 grand and spend 100 grand unless you had the experience to understand that you're pushing the bits for your brand defense when you shouldn't, right? But how would you know that if you haven't experienced it? You're right because it's profitable, right? The campaigns are profitable. They bring you so many sales, and why would you decrease the ad spend? But when you decrease it, and 150,000 a month for any brand, any site, it's a
It's a
huge
lot.
difference. And I'm sure they're not paying you 150,000 a month to service that account, right? So maybe
No,
they are,
yeah, I
but like
wish.
yeah, but literally, I always say this: the ROI of a bad agency is horrible. Like it can ruin your business, but the ROI of a good agency, and I don't even like the term agency, more like a partner because it's a partnership, like a growth partner. It's great. Like this is a perfect example. And of course, they're a bigger brand, so the numbers will make a lot more sense. But it's a perfect example. They could have spent a half a million in ad spend on brand defense, and they still would have done well. But would have increased the sales? Not really.
Yeah,
It's
marginally. Yeah.
You must have a lot of stories like this. What is the craziest customer story you have? Not good, but bad. Like some people that were just like crazy and they, like they were just a nightmare to work with.
Oh man, yeah, we've had obviously plenty of good stories and tons of nightmares. One brand I can think of is like we took them on, we were crushing it on PPC. They were like an absolute nightmare to work with on the branding side. So like optimizing their images and stuff, just like the most minuscule things they would pick apart, and it's like months down the road, and I'm like, guys, like we can, like this isn't the final version. Let's implement it. It's like 99%
Let's
there, and
test
then
it. Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
optimize and
Yeah.
test it. And we're crushing it. And we're owed a big bonus one month, like a 15K bonus, and they
Yeah.
just ghost. Like block me on all platforms, leave Slack, like no, don't respond to emails, anything like that. And like it's more so like depressing and soul crushing for the team because they were working so hard, and like the team gets excited when they like see results from their hard work. And then I'm like, have to go to them with the bad news of like, hey, this client didn't pay us. We didn't get the bonus, which affects my team's bonus, and they're ghosting us now. So like, that's like worst case, and just like hurts me internally to like,
Yeah.
have that happen when you're doing good for a brand.
Of course. I mean, when you deal with people, and there's no rhyme and reason. Just some people are difficult to work with. It's part of the game, and sometimes they can be great at the sales call, and then in a month after that, they're like, oh. And for me,
Yeah.
I always tell them it's no point for you to micromanage us and to be always on us, because the whole point is you hire us to help you. We're here
Yeah.
to help you, right? We're experts at what we do. We're better than you on Amazon. Of course, say it in the nicest possible way. So you don't have to deal with Amazon. Like the least you see Amazon, the better. Even with communications, like we're big on communication, but the best brands we've worked with, they don't even want to hear from you. Like you give them the reports, they check the reports, and that's it. They don't want to even hear from you because
Yeah,
that's not their
exactly.
thing. Amazon is a channel. They have another three channels. You're doing great. Thank you. Paying you, bonus, whatever that is. And then they go on with their business. They don't have the time to speak with you all the time. They don't want to be your friend
It's
to a certain extent.
It's the classic, like everybody's seen that meme or Instagram reel or whatever. It's like the
Yeah.
guy that pays you 20K and he's like, "Cool, I'll talk to you in a month. Do your thing." And then the guy that pays you 2K is like talking to you 24/7,
Yeah.
like trying to manage you, right? But I just remembered an actual horror story from a client. It was probably the worst one. We had a client that they had just launched. They were doing really well, and over the weekend on Sunday, I started getting like messages from my team, like back to back to back. So I'm like, all right, something's going on.
Yeah.
Somehow their account got hacked. All of their inventory got switched to $1. This is like a $60 product. And then when that happens, all of these like Russian and Chinese softwares pick it up, and that all their entire inventory, like $350,000 worth, got bought out for $1 each.
Wow.
We were able to refund like ten to $20,000 of it and get that back, but all the rest they just lost. So then it starts popping up of these people on the buy box. And of course, they bought it for $1 and they're reselling it for $40, $50.
Wow.
So that was a huge hit, like 350K overnight for this brand.
That's
And it
crazy.
took us months of going back and forth with Amazon support to figure out what happened. And we finally got like the IP of the account that made this
Yeah.
change, and it was just like none of our accounts, none of their internal accounts. Somehow somebody got into one of their admin accounts and changed the price. So
See,
yeah, that was I forgot about that. That was an actual
and they
nightmare.
probably didn't have insurance for it.
No, they didn't.
No. Shit, you see that when we were selling, we got our account hacked for 2 days and we lost maybe about 10 grand.
Yeah.
But we didn't have insurance. And I have a friend that works in insurance, and he told me, bro, if you had cybersecurity or business interruption, whatever it's called, like you would have been refunded because it's very easy to prove that you haven't done it. None of your friends
hmm
have done it. Because at 300 to 50K, that's a big hit. Did that business stay in business? Did they continue selling after that?
We still have them. They are selling, but they're
Oh, that's
still
good.
they're still recovering. It's been about 10 months since then, so I would say
That's
they're still
crazy.
recovering because then they were out of stock for like 2 months as they got more stock. So it was like a double whammy,
Double
right?
bubble.
Another personal horror story on the private label side. This was maybe like 7 years ago, but one of my first brands was a glass product. And
Oh,
I'd had maybe 3 or 4 orders with this manufacturer.
yeah.
So I trusted them, good product. I decided not to do a pre shipment inspection on the fourth
Oh,
or fifth
well,
order.
Yeah.
Well, they took that as an opportunity to cheapen out on the glass that they were using. So this stuff gets in. I have like, 4.5, 4.8 stars. I start getting 1 stars back to
Oh,
back.
everything
Glass
damaged.
broken. I reached into the box and cut my finger. Somebody posted a review with a picture of their finger
Oh
bleeding.
my God.
And I'm like, worst case scenario, I recall some of that, get it to my house, it's all broken. So, I go through the motions and talk to the manufacturer. They had used a cheaper glass because I didn't do an inspection.
Of
So,
course.
that was a full 40-foot high cube container that I had to do a removal order from Amazon. So I
Oh
ate
my God.
about like 50 to 60K of inventory. This manufacturer gave me a discount on the next order and, promised not to blah, blah, blah. But yeah, overall ate like 50 to 60K.
And 50
So
to 60
I
K with
always
time
say
difference.
like, yeah, if I'm coaching somebody or consulting like somebody trying to start a brand, like pre-shipment inspection, doesn't matter how much you trust these guys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, unless you're manufacturing it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. From manufacturing side, right? I'm in Europe. I'm in the UK, Scotland. For us, we are leaning more and more into UK manufacturing, Europe manufacturing, the closest we can be to, especially what happened with the tariffs in China. And what I'm seeing also is UK manufacturing or European manufacturing is getting a bigger premium. Like if it's Chinese, maybe we can sell it for $30. If it's UK, maybe we can sell it for 39, 40. And people tend to leave better reviews. Like they're like, yeah, we want to support the business. I've seen this happen in the US as well a lot, like especially in the last year. Have you experienced similar?
Oh yeah, man. With all the global mess going on, we had actually my own brand. The majority of my sales are in US on the .com,
Yeah,
but we also sell it in Canada on
yeah,
Amazon.ca. So I had like, and it's a dog treat. So I had a big picture like made in the USA and all
yeah,
this stuff. And like, I don't know if you remember, but during the election cycle and stuff,
yeah.
there was a US and a Canadian hockey match where within the first 10 seconds, there were like 6 different fights that broke out just
Really?
because all the political tension going on.
Wow.
Overnight, my Canadian sales tanked because on the listing I had American
American flag.
flags and made in the US, and used to that was a selling point.
Yeah,
So we removed that and sales went back up.
that's great.
So yeah, I've seen that like personally with my brand. And then yeah, as far as manufacturing, like I mentioned, supply chain consistency beats a better price now, right? So if you are sure that you will always get it in 3 weeks from the time you place a PO, that's worth paying a little more versus like ordering it
100%.
from another country where there could be tariffs or there could be shipping delays or the Strait of Hormuz could close and like whatever else is going on. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people switch to like manufacturing closer to them now.
Especially cash flow wise as well, and relationship. If you're based in Miami and your supplier is not far from you, meeting him, speaking with him, actually putting a name to the face,
Hmm.
it's such a big difference. Because that's how you get those terms of net 60, net 30. You wouldn't be able to get those easily if you don't know it. And also
Yeah.
it makes you different because everyone is sourcing from China. Everyone is sourcing from China. So you not sourcing from China, it's like, wow, this is interesting. And I think more and
Hmm.
more brands that I'm seeing are doing that. Like it's more expensive to a certain extent, but now I'm curious with all the automations and AI, how much more expensive is it going to get, or is it going to even out? We're never going to be at Chinese prices. Even that same Chinese took a big hit in Amazon with them having to be fair now. So it's a very interesting point. But I love if you can manufacture in your own country or close to your own country. I love that because just having that access to the stock like 2 3 weeks, that's like the dream. Private label being able to get it in less than a month is just a dream.
Yeah. And there's things like China will always do better and you should always use
Well,
China, like electronics, right? You're
of
you're
course,
not going
yeah.
to make those in the UK or in the US, but if it's like supplements and beauty, there's a ton of manufacturing just outside of Miami for supplements and beauty products. And yeah, you can build those relationships with those manufacturers. But stuff like, I don't know, complex stuff, especially electronics, like go to China.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Or clothing as well. Clothing is another one you're probably not going to manufacture in the same country. What
Yeah.
is the what is the goal for the agency? Like, what are you guys focusing the most right now? Where would you want the Amazon side of the agency to be? Like, let's say in a couple of years.
hmm yeah, I mean, obviously growth and stuff, the typical, goals of an agency. But for me, it's like quality and reputation. We'll turn brands down even if they want to pay us, whatever, 5, 6, 8K a month, if we don't think that we can grow them, right? Because it's not like I take you on, you pay me 5K for 3 months, and then you churn, and then you go out into the world, the masterminds and conferences, and you badmouth Michael Jordan and bad marketing, and they were terrible, and then it just like morally, like it builds that bad reputation that agencies already have. So yeah, for me, it's just like maintaining quality as we grow larger. Usually agencies, as they grow larger in scale, quality of fulfillment and services goes down and just tanks. But they don't care because they're scaling revenue and profit. For me,
Of
like
course.
reputation and standard of services, I want to remain high. So we're growing pretty fast. If I can maintain that through the growth and as we scale, like that's where my focus is. And a lot of
Yeah,
that comes down. That's why I spend time on sales, getting good brands in, and team training, management, and leadership training.
that's a great point. And we're not in the. I don't think we're in the quantity game. I think we're in the quality game because you know yourself if the more I send you 20 brands, you probably struggle to fulfill them if they're at a certain size, right? Any agency at almost any size, if you send them 20, 30 big brands, they're not going to be able to like take another 30 after that. So you're
Yeah,
very fast capped out if you want to do things fast. And a quality client, it's always better. And as you know yourself, not every brand can scale. Unfortunately, like
yeah,
some products are just not good. Their unit economic is not there. They don't have a big market. Like like the top seller is doing 20 grand a month. You'll struggle to do 200,000 a month regardless, right? I don't know if it's a size thing. I'm not sure. Because as you said, sometimes the bigger the boys, the less clients they turn, right? They're like, if they're big, they're like, let's get as many people in, make money, pay our overheads, and just scale, which I understand
mhm,
the appeal. But you're right. You start doing bad work. Word of mouth it's a small space. E-commerce is not a big space. No space is big, but like you
yeah.
do bad work for a couple of good brands, like word of mouth is a motherfucker.
You're usually, if it's not a direct one-to-one relationship, you're usually like 2 to max 3 levels away, like 3 people away from having somebody's opinion on like your agency or your personal name, right? So it's like if somebody goes to an agency and they're like, "Hey, I'm like I saw bad marketing, like have you worked with them?" Most of the time, if it's not a like, oh yeah, they ran our brand, it's like, no, but I know somebody that they ran their brand, and I'll connect you. So that's like 1 degree of connection away, or 2 degrees away. And then like, it's word of mouth is huge, and it's really a really small circle when you get like, in this digital marketing circle, like everybody knows everybody. Reputation is huge for us, and like actually doing good work and not contributing to that negative connotation that the word agency has.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's what you focus on, right? When you focus on having great service, your service tend to be better than the
Yeah.
average. But great having you on, Michael. Really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy. Where can people find you? I've been following you on X. I love the posts you're putting on X. They're great. But where can
Yeah.
people find you?
There's a couple guys that have my name before me that are a little more popular than me. So, but most of my stuff, like I'm starting to post on LinkedIn. I started posting on X a little bit. I actually like that. Like it fits my personality better than
Yeah.
Instagram, I think. But yeah, you can find me on all platforms. It's usually like underscore M Jordan, or search like Michael Jordan Amazon, and I should pop up. And then I'll do a shameless promotion. I've been starting to post a lot. I spent the last year writing my book.
Prime Profits. Yeah, I've
So
seen that.
yeah, it's called Prime Profits. You can find it. Go to one of my social profiles, and you'll find a link for it. But it's like my insert card and customer data capture strategy for people selling on Amazon. Because you mentioned like you sell on Shopify or TikTok, like you can collect that customer's info. And then most brands do 30-40% of their revenue through email and SMS still. I saw that through the DTC side of
Yeah.
our agency, and I'm like, why don't Amazon brands focus on this? So over the last 6 years, I've focused on that a lot and put everything I learned into that book.
I need to buy it because that's a very good point. Because there's so much data we can get from Amazon. Like there's
Yeah,
so much
it's
data,
and
but nobody collects anything because they don't
right,
know
and
how to.
like CPAs and CPCs are going up, so it's more and more expensive to acquire a new customer. So that means it's more and more important to retain your existing customers. Once you get somebody to buy from you, your main goal should be to get them to buy from you as many times again as possible. And like as Amazon sellers, a lot of the like the training and stuff on YouTube and courses are outdated. They're years old and they don't talk about this stuff. So
Agreed, agreed. Thank you very much, Michael. A lot of great stuff. Appreciate it, and I'll see you soon, hopefully.
absolutely, man. It's been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
brother. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.